Peace be upon you. My name is Rashida Sadiq, the Emolian teacher. Today we're looking again at how to make your classroom into a safe space. We've talked about the meaning of safety, and we know that a safe learning environment is somewhere where the child is comfortable to learn without fear of injury, loss, or attack. We've been able to look at how to keep the classroom physically safe so that the children are free from any physical harm. Now we'd want to look at how to make sure that the child doesn't get into any mental or social harm. For learners to feel socially and emotionally safe, the classroom has to be somewhere where they're free to air their views, they're free to say their mind, they're free to be themselves in a way that is acceptable without fear of being ridiculed, being teased, being bullied, or being picked upon. So what are some of the things that we can do to make sure that the interactions in our classroom are encouraging and support everyone's learning? First of all, we need to establish routines and procedures. And this should be done together with all the learners. So everybody knows that they're a stakeholder and they can take ownership of whatever the routines and procedures are. There should be a normal morning routine. Where do they drop their things? What do they do first thing in the morning? How do you greet each other when you come to the classroom? How do you behave in a classroom setting? So things like waiting turns, or how do you know it's your turn? And things like making sure that everybody's view is valued needs to be established up front. The teacher needs to make everybody know that it is wrong to make fun of anyone's answer, that there is no wrong answer, and every attempt is encouraged because the individual has tried. So these rules need to be established and followed. So that brings us to the second thing. We need to be consistent. Once there are routines, let's try to stick to them. And if there are rules, they should be used regularly. They should be applied on everyone. So it would be very unfair as a teacher to allow student A to do something and get away with it, and student B gets punished, and student C gets punished, and then student D gets away with it. Then the children feel that you are not fair, and then they're no longer safe in your class because they don't know how you're going to treat or handle them. Another thing that you need to take into consideration is to be really inclusive. You need to include everyone, no matter their ethnic background, their religious background, their tribal affiliations, their physical or emotional state. So you need to be able to consider each child, know what is peculiar and particular to them, and make sure that your class includes them. So if you know that a particular child doesn't eat a particular type of food or is allergic to a type of activity, you have to plan your activities either with an alternative for that child, or just don't do that particular activity at all and do an activity that can include everyone. Another important aspect of having a good and safe learning environment is the teacher. It's very important that the teacher should be kind at all times, should show empathy, and try to understand the different places that the learners are coming from. The teacher is the model. And once you're able to properly model what you want, that kindness, that acceptance of everybody's view and everybody's individuality, then the learners will follow suit. But if you're sarcastic, if you're being mean, even in an underhanded way, the other learners are going to pick up on it, and they're also going to start to show those characteristics. So the teacher has a great role to play. You also need to make sure that everybody feels safe. So if there's ever anyone coming up to you with a concern, telling you they're being bullied, please do not brush it off. At least investigate. And when you've been able to investigate, then you can find a way to try to solve the problem. Maybe you just need to talk to the person that is offending, or maybe the person that is telling you is getting it wrong, and you need to make the person see in the right perspective. But everybody needs to feel heard, and you need to be able to listen to everyone. Do not condone bullying at all. Do not condone teasing. Another important thing that we as teachers need to do is just to cultivate the classroom as a friendly and open atmosphere. So don't be too uptight. Feel free to interact with the children. Let them get to know you as you get to know them. Have fun, crack jokes, so that there isn't so much tension in the room. Then they can ask questions without fear of recriminations or being put down. Then they can actually share their views with you, and their brains will be open for learning. And finally, most importantly, I think, Do not ever take children's behavior personally. Sometimes children will lash out because they've had issues at home. And sometimes they actually lash out because they want you to feel hurt. But it's not that they hate you. It's because of the space that they're in. They need attention. They need love. You have to be the bigger person. A lot of times learners will do all sorts of things to get at you, especially when they feel that you've hurt them or somebody else has hurt them and they just feel mean at that moment. Please, please, and please do not take it personally and see yourself as someone that needs to diffuse the situation. What can you do to help? Thank you very much for listening. And I believe with all of this, we're on our way to making our classroom safe learning zones for everyone. Till we meet again, bye-bye.